What if I told you that Ibrahim Traoré, the young revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, just took a bulldozer to one of the last remaining symbols of French control on African soil, and in its place, he's building something that could change West Africa forever. Not just a building. Not just an airport. But a declaration. A statement to the world that Burkina Faso is done playing by the old rules, the colonial rules. For decades, the French built International Airport stood not only as a transport hub, but as a towering reminder of who once pulled the strings in this nation. Every takeoff and landing whispered the name of its builders, not its people. But Traoré is changing that narrative, brick by brick, runway by runway. In today's video, we uncover the deeper meaning behind this bold move. Why is Traoré replacing a perfectly functional French airport? What does this new airport mean for Burkina Faso's future and its sovereignty? And how could this spark a ripple effect across other African nations still battling the shadows of foreign influence? Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you won't just see an airport, you'll see the rise of a new Africa, taking flight on its own terms. Like, share, subscribe. Because this is history in the making. For many, airports are just gateways to the sky. But in Burkina Faso, the old international airport has long stood as a gateway to something else, a painful past. Built during the height of French neo-colonial influence, the Ouagadougou International Airport wasn't just an aviation hub. It was a silent monument to an era when African nations were independent in name, but not in control. A French-built terminal. A French-named navigation system. And for years, even French companies profiting off the airspace fees. To the casual traveler, it looked like progress. But to a growing number of Burkinabe citizens, it looked like a cage with golden paint. He understood that infrastructure is more than concrete and steel, it's memory, identity, power. And in that realization, he saw the need to do something radical, not renovate the colonial relic, but replace it. Erase it. Not out of hatred, but to make room for a future that belongs to the people. Because in his words, we cannot soar to our destiny while tethered to the anchors of our oppressors. So, what is Traoré building, and why does it have France so quiet, yet so uneasy? Stick with us. The next part will take you to the construction zone of a new dream, one that stretches far beyond the runway. Deep in the heart of Burkina Faso, beyond the dust of old colonial footprints, a new kind of runway is taking shape. But this isn't just a construction site, it's a statement. President Ibrahim Traoré's new international airport is not a simple upgrade. It's a complete reinvention. Strategically located in the outskirts of Ouagadougou, far from the congested legacy of French planning, this airport is designed with the future of West Africa in mind, not its past. And this time, it's not French engineers or European contractors leading the charge. The blueprint is homegrown. African minds. African labor. African control. Traoré isn't just building an airport, he's building an ecosystem, a massive cargo terminal to boost exports of Burkinabe products like gold, cotton, and shea butter, ending decades of dependency on foreign ports. A modern passenger hub capable of serving over 5 million travelers a year, with direct flights envisioned to connect not just Paris or Brussels, but Lagos, Addis Ababa, Bamako, Johannesburg. Solar-powered infrastructure, making it one of the first energy-efficient green airports in the region. And surrounding the airport, a planned Aero City, filled with logistics hubs, hotels, tech incubators, and local businesses, an entire economic zone fueled by Burkinabe ambition. This is the kind of development that was once only dreamed of in post-colonial Africa, now rising from the soil of a nation reclaiming its voice. But here's what makes it even more powerful: the project is being financed and supported without the usual Western strings attached. No French banks. No IMF chains. Instead, Traoré is turning to strategic African alliances and new partners from the global south, partners who respect sovereignty and don't demand submission. To many Burkina citizens, this isn't just an airport, it's a giant leap toward economic liberation. And for France, it's a quiet humiliation. Because for the first time in decades, a former colony isn't begging for help to fly, it's building its own wings. Behind the scenes, the silence from France has been deafening and telling. No official condemnation. No press conferences. No televised outrage. But make no mistake, Paris is watching, and they are not smiling. France's influence in Africa has long rested not just on embassies and military bases, but on symbols, like airports, railways, currency, and language. So when Traoré announced the replacement of the French-built airport, it wasn't just a slap in the face, it was a blueprint for rebellion. According to leaked reports from diplomatic sources, French officials were deeply concerned about the signal this project sends, not just to Burkina Faso, but to Mali, Niger, Guinea, and even Côte d'Ivoire, where anti-French sentiment is also rising. Traoré hasn't fired a single bullet, but with this airport, he's waging a psychological war. And it's working. Western media. Silent, at first. But slowly, headlines began to surface: Burkina Faso risks isolation with controversial airport project. China, Russia suspected to back anti-Western infrastructure moves. New Ouagadougou Airport could deepen regional instability. But the people of Burkina Faso, they see through the noise. To them, this isn't about East versus West. It's about control versus freedom. For decades, Africa's airports funneled resources outward. Gold, talent, culture, exported, often exploited. But Traoré's vision flips that script. This airport is meant to bring opportunity in, not drain it out. And other African leaders are taking note. In Mali and Niger, officials have already voiced support for Burkina Faso's new aviation project, calling it a symbol of self-reliance and a model of what post-colonial independence should look like. Even ordinary citizens across the continent are sharing images of the new construction site, captioned with words like "This is how we take Africa back." The shockwave is real, and it's only just beginning. Because this airport is no longer just about Burkina Faso. It's becoming the runway for a continent ready to lift off, without permission. Across Burkina Faso, and far beyond its borders, something extraordinary is happening. From schoolyards in Bobo Dioulasso to university campuses in Bamako, from TikTok feeds in Dakar to community halls in Niamey, young Africans are talking about an airport. But not just because of its design or capacity. They're talking about what it means. For a generation that grew up under the weight of foreign debt, outdated history books, and rigged systems, Ibrahim Traoré's new airport is more than concrete and ambition, it's a symbol of defiance. A reminder that their future doesn't have to be outsourced. They're saying, if Burkina Faso can do this, so can we. Memes, murals, music videos, they're flooding the internet. One clip shows a young man rapping beside the airport construction zone. They built it for us, but kept the keys. Now we build it for ourselves, and unlock the sky. It's not just hype, it's a psychological shift. For decades, African youth were told to dream abroad. To seek opportunity elsewhere. To fly out and never look back. Now, for the first time in years, the dream is landing at home. This new airport, owned, led, and inspired by Africans, is becoming a canvas for Pan-African pride. It's not just Burkina Faso's win. It's a spark that reminds millions, we are not too poor. We are not too dependent. We are not too late. And that's what makes this project dangerous to old powers. Because it's not just building runways, it's building belief. As young people from Ghana to Gabon look to Traoré's bold leadership, they're beginning to see Africa not as a continent in need of saving, but as a continent ready to lead. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful revolution of all. This story began with a building, a simple airport built by France in a land it once claimed as its own. But now, that building is being replaced by something far greater than steel and glass. It's being replaced by purpose. By pride. By proof that Africa can build, not just survive. Ibrahim Traoré's new international airport is not the end of anything, it's the beginning. A beginning that says Burkina Faso will no longer be a transit point for foreign exploitation. It will be a launchpad for African dreams. This airport is a mirror, reflecting a continent slowly waking up from centuries of manipulation. It reflects young people who are no longer waiting for change, they are becoming the change. It reflects a leader who dared to say, no more dependency. No more waiting for permission. The time is now. And maybe, just maybe, it reflects a future where African countries don't just build airports. They build unity. They build sovereignty. They build nations that fly high, without carrying the weight of colonizers beneath their wings. So the next time a plane lifts off from Burkina Faso's new runway, it won't just be a flight, it'll be a statement. Africa is rising. And this time? We're flying on our own terms. Like, share, subscribe. Let this story travel further than colonial borders ever could.